Should you pull money out of your 401k for real estate? Let me think about it. This is a real estate channel, and I believe in real estate. I don't know what I'm really gonna say, but it's all coming your way right now. Friends, today we are hoping to end the great debate on 401ks. Should you use them to invest in real estate? Should you pull your money out? How do you pull your money out? And you know what? Honestly, it can be a little complicated. So we've brought our friend, Mr. Whiteboard today. And of course, Stephen Michael Miller, who's gonna help lay down the law on exactly how this goes.
Absolutely.
So get pumped and get excited. So today, Stephen, 401ks, first of all, can you invest in real estate by pulling money out of it? And can you invest it by not pulling your money out?
Yeah, the reality is I don't think that this is really a debate of should I or shouldn't I. There are cases where you should and there are cases where you shouldn't. And we're going to talk about, I think, both of those right now and kind of just get into some of the details of how your 401k can help you invest in more real estate.
And you need to understand that, yes, you can invest in real estate with your 401k. You can also invest in real estate by pulling your money out. And the great debate of should you or shouldn't you really comes down to one simple mathematical equation. Can you do better in the real estate market than you can do in the 401k market? And hands down, on our last 3,500 homes, nearly $1 billion in real estate, the answer is definitively yes, you can outpace the market because the 401k markets will go up and down, and sometimes you're winning and you're up 20%, sometimes you're down 50% as we look at the really big swings. But over time, over 20 years, do you know what it really averages out to? 3 to 4%. So the question is, can real estate do better than 3 or 4%, Stephen?
Yeah, absolutely can. We've been talking about this for years. Not only talking about it, we've been showing people exactly how to invest their money that they currently have in a 401k in the proper real estate. And so let's talk about, first of all, the yes. Right? When do we pull money out of a 401k to invest in real estate? There are some great things that we want to mention here. First of all, when you're pulling money out of a 401k, it's probably because you don't have enough in there to buy a home outright. And what does that mean?
Well, when you use a 401k, you can actually pull money out, and when you can either buy real estate with loans or you can buy it paid off, free and clear outright. And so this whole first option here, we're going to assume that you have $100,000 in a 401k. It's just a round number. Your number will be higher or it will be lower, but I think you're going to understand the principle really well. So on this side, we're going to assume that, yeah, we're pulling money out, and then we're going to come over here later and we're going to say, how would you invest in real estate without taking it out of the 401k? So assuming $100,000 and you want to pull it out, here are the first couple things that you need to be aware of. Real estate, we're going to show you on this side how you can make 20% a year on your money. On this side, we're going to show you how you can make 10% while still leaving it in the 401k. And the reason why we're getting 20% over here is because we're going to buy real estate with leverage. We're going to buy real estate with taking the money out of the 401k. We're going to go to banks. We're going to put 20% down, and then we're going to make roughly 15, 20 or more percent a year on our money. And the two things that you need to be aware of is that when you pull money out of a 401k, there's two things that are going to happen.
Right there. Go ahead. Oh, they're going to smack your hand. They're going to do everything that they can to make sure that you don't pull your money out of your 401k. Those two things are, first of all, penalties. You're going to get about a 10% penalty when you pull your money out of your 401k, right? That penalty can hurt. Most people don't like losing 10% of their portfolio.
But that's one perception. I actually call it a cost of business because it's unavoidable. What this $100,000 now becomes $90,000 because $10,000 is going to go as a penalty. And you know what? That's enough for some people to say, oh, lose $10,000, what a bad mistake. Friends, don't forget that we are stepping out of making 3 to 4% on our money and stepping into making 10, 15, or 20% on our money. And let me ask you, Stephen, is a 10% penalty worth it in order to have your money growing at many times the pace?
Oh, absolutely. It's not just worth it. It's something that you definitely should be doing.
So by the way, look forward to your penalty. Be excited to finally get it out of the beast's hands and get it into your hands where you are in control. The second thing that you need to be aware of is that when you pull the money out, it's a taxable event under this scenario, and you're going to have to pay taxes. And if you're pulling out Now the $90,000, it's going to add $90,000 to your income for the year. It's going to put you up into a higher tax bracket. Our team will actually show you how to pull some out maybe this year, next year, depending on what month you're in. And we'll figure out the best way to do it. But you're going to have to pay taxes, Stephen, regardless of when they take that money out. It doesn't matter what age they ever get to. Will they have to pay taxes?
Oh, you're always going to have to pay taxes. Even in a 401k, those funds are just tax deferred. So at some point, you're absolutely going to have to pay taxes. Just be aware of that. And if you want to do better than what your 401k is doing, which by the way, is never going to retire you, okay, we've talked about this before, then you want to do other things, and real estate's the best thing to do.
So let's say for this example that we have 10% going to penalties and 20% going to taxes, and there's 70% left over. That would be $70,000, and let's say that you use that to purchase 2 properties. Well, these 2 properties are now free of the 401k. They're now producing, let's just say that each one is producing $400 a month of cash flow. So for the first time in your life, your 401k was paying you nothing. Now it's paying you $800 a month. Let's assume you bought those properties with some equity. Now all of a sudden you have recuperated your taxes and penalties there. You've got $800 a month. And guess what we want to do with these 2 properties in time?
You're going to turn those into more.
We're going to multiply them like rabbits. We want 2 to become 4, 4 to become 8, 8 to become a lot of properties. And now all of a sudden, you're taking back financial control of your life, and all those hard-earned saving dollars in your 401k can mean something for you now, and they mean something every single month. $800 a month for a lot of people, an extra $10,000 a year, that's a really big deal. $10,000 a year is a lot to you can fund a lot of things, or vacations or trips or things that you've wanted to do that your 401k has been getting in the way of. So this is one option. And now I want to talk about, well, how could I have my 401k help me invest, Stephen, in real estate and even avoid the penalties and taxes?
So I want to talk right now. We're talking to the uber conservatives, and I know we've got people here on our channel that are wondering. Okay, look, this all sounds fine and good, but as much as you guys say it, I still don't want to pay my penalties, and I still don't want to pay the taxes, and I want to keep my growth inside of that 401k or inside of that IRA. And that's where this strategy may come in useful for you. In this scenario, you'll need to use and have enough in there to purchase an entire property. So in this option, where you're saying, no, I don't want to pull my money out of a 401k or IRA. I actually want to keep it in there and still invest it in real estate, which, by the way, if you understand 401ks and IRAs, they're typically tied to the markets, right? So they go up and down with the market as the market goes up and down. Real estate, though, is something that can be done inside of a 401k and IRA. You can actually do what's called self-directing. Now, self-directing just means you become the custodian. You become the person that has control over your IRA or your 401k. You can now, with that control, go off and buy paid-off real estate.
Now, there are restrictions if you leave it in the 401k. You cannot buy leveraged real estate. Instead, you can really generally only purchase paid-off free and clear real estate. And with this $100,000 self-directed, we can take you to markets where you can buy a $100,000 house. And on this scenario, because it's paid off, we're not using leverage. So instead of maybe making 20% a year, we're now maybe making 10% a year. But I want to ask, is 10% more than 3 or 4%?
Absolutely.
It's more than 3 or 4%. I have a paid off piece of property. Let's say that after all my expenses that this property is producing, ironically, $800 a month. So I either own a paid off property, conservatively doing $800 a month. I own 2 properties in this scenario. And the question is, Stephen, should I self-direct my 401k or should I take the taxes and penalties and buy real estate? And the question is, which one's better?
Yeah, at the end of the day, I really think it comes down to a couple different things. Number 1, personal preference. Number 2, what's your risk tolerance? Those 2 things I think are the biggest factors in what you're going to do. Or do I have enough to pull out and do it this way, or do I want to keep it in here and just grow it inside?
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you right now, it really also comes down to your goals.
Yep.
If you're saying, wow, I feel so far away from what I need for retirement and I need to focus on producing a powerful residual income, hands down, this is going to be the option for you, because we want to take 2 homes and turn them into many homes. When you buy a paid off home, what you're doing is not just earning 10 instead of 20%, but you're also slowing down your growth.
Absolutely.
Because you have 1 property growing in the market instead of 2 properties growing in the market. And ultimately, this is going to be a slower path to getting where you want to go. So that makes this a very appropriate path if you're close to retirement and you actually say, I actually have a lot of what I need. I looked at my Social Security, I looked at the other investments, and I looked at this, and I'm adding it all up, and hands down, I've got enough money for retirement by choosing this path. If you're far away from retirement, you're probably going to want to look more at this direction. But the bottom line is, instead of making 3 or 4% in your 401k, there are some different options that you have of how you can go out there and start investing successfully in real estate. If you want to get a more in-depth and a more accurate analysis of what you want to do, then you have a chance to talk with me, Steven, and the rest of our team. Just go ahead and click this link in the top corner, and we're going to reach out to you, and we'll actually walk you through your very specific options. So even if you only have 10 or 20,000 in a 401k, or if you have $500,000 in a 401k, or other assets, we'll be able to do a comparison analysis of equity in a home or other assets. And again, if you have very little or no assets, that's our specialty, because we'll go into partnering and lease options and some of our other creative strategies. Because bottom line is, no matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, now is the time to get out there. There's a way for you to invest successfully in real estate. If you want some help navigating how to maneuver those 401ks, how to use them, should you self-direct, should you just pull it out and pay the taxes and penalties that cost a business, go ahead and click up here, contact my team, reach out, and we'll start getting you hands-on information on what it would look like and exactly the kind of properties that you can step into right now.